So back on November 13th, Assetto Corsa Rally graced us with its presence. I've been trying it both on and off stream, trying all different combinations to see what's good, what's bad, what needs adding, and what needs changing. So let's get into it. So, Assetto Corsa Rally, developed by Supernova Gaming Studio in conjunction with Kunos and published by 505 Games. It is the new benchmark of rally simulators. It has dropped in early access, so it is by no means a completed game. Incredibly cheap, however. Point of purchase, I paid $17.99 for this game because I already had AC Evo, also another game in early access. Full price, it is $24.99, so even so, a really cheap game. There are 10 different cars in the game and 2 locations with a combination of 18 different stages to rally around at the moment. This is all planned to be added to in early access, going up to around 30 cars and getting around 120 kilometers of stages over 5 locations by the time the game comes out. So we're starting off with the bits that I feel this early access has missed the mark on, bits that got a little bit wrong and maybe missed out entirely. Firstly, being the brakes, I just feel the balance of them isn't quite right. You really have to work them to get them warm, which is a good thing, but the front brakes always seem to cook and the rears are never touched, regardless of the brake balance that you've got. Another thing seems to be a glitch with mapping the look left and look right buttons. You can map them and it will look left or look right, but it will look left or right for eternity. There seems to be no self-centering, and if you then click forward, you kind of get this view where it's off skew from the centre. On wheel, we're also missing the ability to look round the car. On controller, you can use a joystick to look around, but on wheel, there isn't that option. There's no way to do a rear view if you're in the third person, which I think is something that's missing. If you clip something and you want to look at the damage you've caused. I'm also aware that quite a lot of people's hardware isn't working, like wheels aren't connecting and some people aren't getting force feedback. So hopefully there's a quick fix coming for that soon and more people will be able to play. On the note of force feedback, the game did feel quite light straight out the box, with not much feedback, so the gain had to be turned up for myself up to around 130, but that then is going to be based on what equipment you've got and how you want the game to feel. But after that point, it felt really good. The feedback is really intuitive, but I will get onto that later on in the video. The last main issue I've got really is the timing of the pace notes. You can change how early or late they are, but it seems really inconsistent with how early or late they are. They just seem to be the set position that they're called, regardless of how fast or slow you're going. And if you're in a faster or slower car, you need the pace notes at a different time before the corner. So there is one thing that I think is missing from this game at the minute and needs to be added. There are no accessibility options at all that I can find anyway. So while there is some really nice looking graphics, you've got the tyre temperatures there, they're really hard to see and there's no way of scaling the UI. Just having a way to position or change the font size maybe would make the game so much easier to see. What is really good is having like a progress bar through your pace note. It's just showing how far it is till that note's completed. Although again, like with the pace note calling, I feel the timing of this is a little bit off. The contrast also really isn't that high. So I didn't even notice it. It was one of the viewers in stream that pointed it out. So it's a nice touch to have, but the contrast really isn't there, and you have to really focus on it to be able to see that it's progressing. Something I really like is you have to drive to the start of the stage. Gives you a little time to get a couple of degrees temperature into the brakes and tyres, and you position yourself perfectly for where you want to start. This really helps to add immersion into the sim, give you a little bit of an idea of how the rally drivers get into the mindset. There's a lot this sim does really, really well, especially for it being so early on early access. Every car feels completely different, with different amounts of understeer and oversteer. Older cars feeling wallowy and softer, with the newer four-wheel drive cars feeling more planted and agile. You really have to drive the car to get the most out of it and change your driving style depending on where you are, what surface you're on, and what car you're in. Graphically, the game is absolutely stunning. My PC does struggle a little bit with it. I've got some settings on low, some on high, which I might need to be playing with to try and get the most out of my graphics card. But the physics are where this sim absolutely shines. Once you get the force feedback feeling right, you can feel all the little bumps and ruts. You can feel the car scrambling across the surface, especially on this wet Welsh muddy surface, which I do get a little bit wrong. Another thing this sim does really well is the attention to detail. When you're looking around the car in the garage, the door handles move and the latches open when you open and close the doors. It is such a small detail, but it's so nice that it's there, and the developers spent that little bit of time, or quite a lot of time, actually putting that into the game. It's just brilliant. Another thing this does really well is the tarmac. Now that is something that we've seen in EAWRC as an example. It just not feeling quite right, well, in my own opinion anyway. But in this, you feel that car slip and slide. You feel all the bumps on the tarmac, and you can push the car to the limit of the tyre. And rather than the grip just disappearing, everything feels progressive. The slides, while a car might snap, it's catchable because you can feel it through the wheel, and you feel that tyre start to go rather than it being immediate like it is in EAWRC. So that is just my opinion of the sim so far. It's in early access, so it is a little limited on what you can do in the sim so far, but having 10 cars to play around with on all those different stages is absolutely fantastic. There's going to be so much more content added to the game, which is just going to be so exciting to see where it goes, what gets added, what the game's going to be at full release. We don't have a date for it yet, but I think if you like rally games, you should absolutely get it, especially while it's cheap, because that price is going to rise through the early access as more stuff gets added and as we get closer to the game's full release. So while there is bugs and issues with the game, I do have full faith that it is going to get sorted over the coming weeks and months. And so let me know if you've tried Assetto Corsa Rally. Let me know what you thought of it down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. If you are new here, please do consider hitting that like, subscribe to come back for more content. Have a fantastic day and keep plodding on.